In ancient Athens, a school of thought was developed by a chap called Zeno of Citium. Citium now being modern-day Cyprus. The Stoic movement was intended to be a practical and useful exploration of what the ingredients are to living a life of virtue and happiness. Introducing Stoicism. Philosophy to the Stoics was a way of life that could be practiced. Their doctrine was divided into three main areas of thought that interlink and relate to one another, resulting in a worldview perspective designed to guide one to living life in the best possible way. Quoting the Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy, Stoicism is a system of ethics which is guided by a logic as a theory of method and rests upon physics as a foundation. The three main areas then being physics, logic, and ethics. We'll start with Stoic Physics. The Stoics held that the universe began with a cosmic fire. This fire marking the beginning and end of existence. They call this substance Logos, which can be translated as both fire and breath. They hold that this fiery substance is the primordial substance of matter, and that matter is everything, or all that is, and that this primal fire, or Logos, is God, or nature. The Stoics also held that God, or nature, is absolute reason, implying that the Logos is a rational element. They claimed the human soul to be part of the Logos, therefore it being a rational soul. They claim the Logos was breathed into the first human by God, or nature, and this torch thereafter being passed on through us, through procreation. So, what does this mean? What are the implications of these Stoic claims? Quoting the Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy again, firstly, it suggests because reason is inherent that there is purpose, and therefore order, harmony, beauty, and design. Secondly, since reason is law as opposed to the lawless, it means that the universe is subject to the absolute sway of law, and is governed by the rigorous necessity of cause and effect. God or nature being the cause, and it willing its reason through us, the effect. The Stoics then by this account were causal determinists, though when we later touch on the Stoic maxim, live according to nature, they may have been compatibilist. Secondly, we'll very briefly look at Stoic Logic. The Stoics were empiricists, holding that all information and knowledge derives from the senses or sense experience. They claimed that these impressions were inscribed onto our minds, which, in the beginning of our lives, is a blank slate. They distinguished between abstract things like language with physical objects, and held that abstract and corporeal things do not exist independently of matter, and that they are ideas that live in the mind and have no reality outside of consciousness. To the Stoics, truth lies in sensation, not in thought, but in feeling. Lastly, Stoic Ethics. Their doctrine is based upon two principles that link back to their physics. The first being that the universe is governed by laws, the laws of nature, or God, and the laws of reason. The second, that human nature is reason, referring back to humans being a part of the Logos and having a rational soul. These principles can be captured within their famous maxim, live according to nature. Essentially, meaning we should conform to both inner and outer processes, i.e. the two aforementioned principles. Stoicism, then, being somewhat of a practical guide, notes 4 cardinal virtues that can be practiced in order to achieve what the Stoics call eudaimonia, which is the ultimate goal. Eudaimonia can be translated as happiness, but perhaps more accurately, flourishing. Their 4 cardinal values are wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, which, when worked with, they say leads to clear judgment, inner calm, and freedom from suffering, or eudaimonia. A quick note on emotion. I'd like to address a misconception of Stoicism, which is the idea that one should suppress emotions, which is not the case. Rather, they identify a distinction between the raw emotions themselves and our minds, which they hold has the capacity to reason as to how the emotion can be understood and used as a way in which one's self-control can be developed, resultantly leading to the overcoming of destructive emotions, eliminating suffering, and contributing to their ultimate goal. This video has been extremely brief. The Stoics contributed vast, fascinating content to the field that I failed to anticipate when choosing this topic. I'd like to not get into the habit of making these videos too long, as they are intended to be very brief introductions. The Stoic ideas and concepts, in my opinion, are quite beautiful, and in the future I do intend to cover some of their doctrine, again, perhaps in more detail. This was my attempt at briefly introducing Stoicism. What do you think?